Thank you for joining us. My name is Oluwatobi. I lead the team here in Lagos for the Mautic community. And this morning, we'll be looking at together what Mautic you can do together with a customer engagement and data platform, which is Tracardi. And we also have today with us Risto, who will be sharing that with us and what you can be able to do with Tracardi and Mautic. But before we go on, I would like to quickly do a brief introduction of today's program. And in case anyone here doesn't have an idea of what today is all about, I'll be quickly sharing with us so that you can be able to have an idea, and then you can always continue to understand how this can be of great benefits to everyone. Great. So I'll be going on to quickly share with us today. So welcome everybody. This is Mautic Meetup Lagos. So except you're invited to stage, you may not be able to speak. But then, and you can always ask your questions in the chat. And if you would like to ask in person, you can also come join the stage. So just signify that you like to come join the stage, and you'll be invited to come join us on the stage. And also, please, it's very important. We have the launch after this meeting, after this meetup. So please join the launch where you can be able to interact with the speaker, interact with the organizers, interact with leaderships that are part of this meetup and other people who will join this meetup today. So you can always interact after this these presentations and everything where you can have one-on-one conversation. So please join the launch after today's event. So for those that might be new here and are wondering what is Mautic. So Mautic is the world first automated marketing platform, and is also self-hosted. It's free, so it means as a business owner or as an individual, you can have it installed on your own server and you can use it without any cost attached, paying for the software himself, enable you to effectively personalize the digital experience for your customers in whatever journey they might be. So if you're looking at what can I do with Mautic, so most people used to think maybe Mautic is more of email marketing, but Mautic does more than email marketing. You can do SMS text messages, you can do dynamic content, you can do audience segmentation, you can do contact management, you can be able to have A/B testing. In case you need to create forms, you can create forms that submit directly into Mautic. And in case you are looking at creating landing pages or tracking website, you can use Mautic to do that. Another good thing about Mautic is you can integrate it with other platforms, like what we'll be discussing today, where we'll be talking about how you can integrate with its customer engagement and data platform like Tracardi. All right. So the Mautic is open for everybody. It's open source. It's free. Everything I do here is free, so it's not like maybe I'm paid to do this. So I like the project, and I'm looking forward to getting other people to also see how they can benefit from using this. So that is why we organize this every month. And today, if you are interested in contributing to this, please feel free to go to Mautic, mau.tc/contribute, and then you can find information on how you can be part of the Mautic project. Also, this is other community teams you might want to join. We have the community team that organize events and also try to make sure the community keeps growing. We have the education teams that are in charge of the documentation and everything that makes it easy for everyone to know how to use Mautic. We have the marketing team, which I'm also part of, and is also the team whereby we try to promote Mautic for everyone. And then we have the product team that actually develop the Mautic platform itself. So if you are conversant in any of these any of these things, please feel free to join. You don't need to be a full time, just a spare time that you can give maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 hours in a week. That's fine. But at least let's contribute to this project and make it grow. And feel free to reach out to me in case you want to join any of this team, or you can just go back to this previous link and also see how you can be able to participate in any of these communities. All right, so please join us, our Lagos team, on Slack. We also have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. That is Mautic Meetup Lagos. After today's event, we'll be posting this video there, so you might go back there to rewatch at your own convenient time. Okay, so we also have other communities. So in case you have any challenge with Mautic or you have questions, please it's best that you ask those questions on the forum. It's not advisable to do that on Slack. And why we don't advise you going to Slack is because there might other people who might also experience similar issues in the future. So Slack, the forum makes it easy for the search engine to pick up those information, and also makes it easy for anyone to easily find them if, when they want to post that same similar question on forum. So if you do that on Slack, Slack doesn't have that kind of functionality. So Slack is more of into conversation, team meetings, into more of relating with each other. But if in case you need support, please use the forum. That would be very appreciative if you can do that. Okay, and in case you want to learn more about Mautic, so we have the knowledge page at kb.mautic.org or the developers doc. You can find that at developers.mautic.org or docs.mautic.org. In case you have their own official podcast, that is Multicast by Lichester, so you can also join listen to that by monthly podcast. Okay, feel free to join the community on social media, so Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Please feel free to follow the Multic community. Okay, so this event is organized by two of us, myself and Favor. So Favor is also part of the education team. So together we've been working on creating this content. And so just not today alone. After today's, we'll be having our next meetup next week Saturday, same time, just like today. March 26, where we'll be having the topic on email marketing automation with Mautic and WordPress. And that will be given to us by the developer and the founder for Cyber Panel. So Cyber Panel is an open source panel where you can also host Mautic. So please join us, RSVP. The event is live on meetup.com. So please RSVP so that you can get reminders and you can also be part of that too. Okay, so let's move straight into today's agenda. Great. So we have the welcome address, which I've already tried to do, and I've also shared with us what Mautic is. So next is we'll be having the presentation from um, the Tracardi team, and that is Risto. So Risto will be sharing with us today about what he has been building, and he's going to also be sharing with us how you can be part of how this can be helpful for you and for everyone who is part of this today.
I
Hi,
didn't
hi,
see the
good
icon.
morning.
Hello, good morning.
How are you doing this morning?
How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks so much for taking time
Great.
out. I know it was a very short period of notice, and you tried to put your team together to try to do something that you can be able to present today. I really appreciate the effort and the time you put into this.
Hey, thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here.
Yep, yep.
I would like to present you today how the Mautic users may enhance the data they collect and how to use Tracardi as a customer data platform that will push additional information to Mautic. Uh, customer data platforms and customer engagement platforms are quite new to the market, and I see them like little monsters that can do multiple things. That's why I'm putting those pictures of monsters. And I'm quite convinced that those platforms did not show everything they are capable of. So I will try to present today what is this platform for. And before we begin, I would like to do a quick agenda. And I go very quickly through the first part where I tell you about myself, tell you why I think every modern marketing department needs a customer data platform, and how the data can be used to engage customers and enhance customer experience. I would like also to spend some time on presenting the system and sample use cases. And finally, I will be happy to answer all your questions. Okay, so let's get started. Um, about me, my name is Risto Kowaczewski. I'm originally from Poland, where I live and work, and I've been in IT for over 30 years. And most of my career I have spent working on e-commerce and retail related companies. Currently, I'm a code maintainer of Tracardi, open source customer data platform. customer data platform and engagement platform. And you can follow me at Twitter, where I post about Tracardi development tools and tools for enhancing customer experience. Okay, so at the beginning, I would like to tell you why I think that we need customer data platforms and what actually is a data platform. Shortly, it's a collection of software which creates a persistent, unified customer database that is accessible to other systems. It gathers data from multiple sources, can enrich this data by collecting additional data from external services. For example, if a customer makes a purchase, a CDP can fetch weather conditions at the customer's location. So later on, it can find a connection between weather and purchase patterns of particular customer. This is only one example. Another one would be fetching data from external systems that has data on past purchases, so we can recommend products to buy. But do we really need those CDPs? Because the industry was working without them for a long time and was quite happy about it. So I think we do, because there is no modern marketing without data. Actually, building a modern marketing begins and ends with mastering of customer identity. So, and the landscape has changed with COVID, and we have to remember that collecting data is not easy these days, because they come from multiple channels like web, mobile, Internet of Things, social media. They also come in multiple forms like clicks, but also behavioral data. For example, how long have you watched a certain content? Do you like it or not? And finally, when we have all this data, we want to engage customer in a way that they feel that our actions are beneficial for them and they experience their journey as pleasant. To do this, we have to combine those little drops of data from various sources, and actually CDP does it. So why do we need customer data platforms? Because the industry was working without them and noticed that we need more actually data. And actually, I already explained it. Maybe why we need a customer engagement. During this presentation, I'm talking a lot about customer engagement and customer experience. And just to quickly put us on the same page, I'm going to explain how I see the customer engagement and the customer experience. Customer engagement is sometimes confused with the customer satisfaction or customer experience, and I see it as an extension of both of those concepts. Customer satisfaction is how much consumer likes or dislikes the product, while customer engagement is the process that leads them to like or dislike your product. So both are essential when interacting with customer, but customer engagement also involves listening to the customer needs. Okay, why we need customer engagement platforms? Because right now we have more data. The data is of a better quality, and we sometimes think that data is enough. Actually, it's not. We have to find a way to use this data to interact with the customer. I often hear that people are using like Google Analytics, and they say, okay, we have a lot of information about the customer. Actually, it's not true. We have a lot of information about customers, but not the customer, the particular one. So CDP is and customer engagement platforms are gathering information on one customer and try to interact in real time, one by one. Okay, so, and one last thing, what is a customer journey? When we talk about customer engagement, the essential part of the customer, it's an essential part of the customer journey. The definition is like, that I like comes from Forrester, and it defines customer journey as a series of interactions between customer and company that occur when a customer pursues a specific goal. For example, every time a customer makes a search on your page, this is actually an opportunity to deliver positive experience. And later on, you can encourage prospects to become customers. And we should remember that customer journey starts long before marketing automation systems begin their work. And I will show you how to use a customer data platform to gather information before you even start using your marketing automation system. Okay, and this is the most interesting part, how we can make Mautic and Tracardi work together. First of all, both Mautic and Tracardi are open source systems. They collect similar data, but on a different parts of customer journey, and they can be integrated. And for the purpose of this meetup, we actually made an integration with Mautic, and it is available out of the box right now. Tracardi can collect data before there's an actual email provided by the customer. Then you can send this data to Mautic, and when Mautic when the customer stops being anonymous, you have more information than before, because Tracardi was collecting data before he even delivered the email. Okay, during my presentation, I will be showing you Tracardi, but I would like to introduce you to the Tracardi architecture. It works like this. You have an event. Tracardi is collecting events. This is like a little small portion of data that is sent to Tracardi. It's sent via JavaScript, and then Tracardi is validating this data, is saving this data, attaching a profile, anonymous. If the customer didn't identify itself, then it's checking the routing rule and then process this data in a workflow. Then it merges all the information, segments the profile, and returns the updated profile. And to do this, it uses different resources. One of the resources is Mautic. The other resources can be databases, services, files, SMSs, any kind of external system. Okay, this is how Tracardi looks. The system, as I told you, is collecting data from various sources. And on the left side, we have a menu. It starts with traffic, and here we define a source that we'll be collecting data from. So, for example, I would like to create a new source that will use JavaScript, and that will be my page. I will enable this source, just save it. And when you click on this source, you can see the JavaScript snippet. So this snippet goes into your header part of HTML, and it should be on every page. It has a source ID. And then we have a JavaScript example, which actually sends an event. We type event type here, and we have data here in form of JSON. So you don't have to put this part on every page, just on the page that you would like to track. For example, that would be a purchase order or any information you would like to have. Okay, and then when we have a web page, a source actually, because you have to understand that the source can be different. The source can be information from Internet of Things or some mobile application. It always sent via an API, and actually you can find the webhook here that will collect data. This actually is a profile list data, but you can also send it via a track API that can collect more data than this webhook. Okay, when we have a web page like this, we can put this JavaScript and then start collecting data. In Tracardi, we have like a test page where you can actually simulate collecting data from the web page. You just need to select a source. That would be my web page. I will just make it smaller so you can see it better. You can type event type, and then you can type the data you would like to send. For example, let it be purchase. Okay, so this is event properties. And we actually could just send it that this is a purchase order. Okay. And just submit it. Here we see the information that goes into Tracardi. This is how the data will be sent from your web page. And this is the response from the server. Once we put the JavaScript on the page, it will be sending data like this. And we can also see this data right here in the data section. And this is the data. It actually has more information because when we send first data, the profile is created. If the user was not identified, the anonymous profile is created. And we also have a session. Session is information of the context of the event. So, for example, it could be information on what type of browser the customer used, the time zone. I will present it because we have like a test page that's called Tracker. You have to change the port to the API port and Tracker. And this is a test page. And this page actually simulates the page, your web page you will have. It sends the data, but also sends the context. And I will show you the context of this. So I visited this page, and now I can go to data, filter, have more information, like interest. And then when we go to sessions, you can see this is the session, and we see that it was sent from Europe. It was sent from Netscape, and it was on a test page. So we have a lot of more information when we send it from the browser, because I'm sending it from the Tracardi for the first time, so this information was not provided. Okay, once we have the data, so we've been trying to process data and collect data. So this is the screen where we define how we will copy the data from event to the profile. And we start with a start node. This is where the workflow starts. Then we need to somehow debug this workflow. So we have like a debug node. This node will load the data from the database of a given event type. For example, page view. Let's do it with page view. So when we have a workflow like this, we can already debug it, just clicking here, and we see all the actions that were executed, and we can see what data was loaded. So this part loads data, and we can see that on the output on this port, we have an event data, everything that that was sent to Tracardi. Then we start the workflow, and we have an internal state of the workflow. That is a profile that was created, an event, and session. Session is as I said, context of the event. Event is just data, and profile is an anonymous profile that we have created. And right now, we can process this data. For example, we can merge this data to the profile. For example, let's do it like this. Maybe I type profile, and we can right now we can, for example, enrich a profile with some additional information. from other systems, but I would like to do something like trades. Okay, set trade. So we can set a trade inside profile that comes from the event properties. Trade is just a part of the profile where we keep all the information about the profile, the customer. So right now we can set like profile trades public, and we can set an information about, I don't know, that would be a name, for example. And we can copy this from event properties dot name. Okay, and just save it. Sorry again, profile, I didn't click plus. Public name and properties dot name. I have to click here plus, so we see that the profile will be set with the information from event properties. And that actually this workflow will copy information from events to the profile. We have to deploy this workflow so it's visible outside, because when we are working, we don't want this to be visible outside because it could interact our data. And we also have to create a rule. A rule tells us that if there is a page view on a web page, we want to use this workflow, collect data. I name it rule 1. Okay. And now we can test if this works. We can just click here and see, okay, we have some information that the properties name is not available. It's not available right now because our page view does not have this data. But right now I will try to send the data. So we'll say name Risto. Okay, and we can go to data and we see that we have new event page view that was processed. You can see details. You can see that it had properties Risto. We can see that all the nodes in the workflow were executed. It means start and set trade. And you can see the profile that was created. So we can also look for the profile if the data was copied. We should have like a profile with name Risto. I will have to look for this. Okay. Let's do it like this. Sorry. Okay, it still does not load this this property's name. Again. We have properties name Risto, and our public trades name Risto is also available in the profile. So we can look for this profile. Oh, sorry, I'm debugging. Sorry, I'm debugging. That's why I don't see this this data in the database.
Hi, Risto.
Hi.
David shared some information. He said you did not save the profile to DB, to the database. So he said there's a plugin for this.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's not in the database because right now I'm debugging. That's why the data is not coming to the database because it will just. I'm working on a working copy of the workflow. That's why if I do this, it would just corrupt my data. But I see on the test that it actually works because in the response, I'm returning a profile. And when I do it, it will certainly copy this. So I'm just trying to show you that with the processing, you can just take any data from the profile, from the event, and copy it, even conditionally, into the profile. I will show you some use cases where this is very useful. For example, if we collect data from every page view, and we have like a customer that comes from the price comparison engine and price comparison site, then we can find like parse URL node in the Tracardi, parse this URL, and find that there's an information that this customer comes just from the search engine, because we, for example, included some information in the URL. Then this information can be copied to Tracardi, and later on, or even in the same process, we can call Mautic marketing. Okay, you can call Mautic. We have like Mautic automation, and inside we have plugins for Mautic, and we can send this data, send this profile, this contact, to Mautic. So every time anything changes in the profile inside Tracardi, we can synchronize it with Mautic. So before we even start making campaigns, we can collect a lot of data, and I'll show you what kind of data we can collect. We can also enrich this data. It means we can call other systems, get information from the systems, and just copy this information into profile the same way as we are doing with set trait, and then later on we can add this to Mautic. So let me show you some other examples, because I was creating the examples before. So let's go with this one, geolocation. This time I will be not connecting this to the page, because it's much easier to test it inside Tracardi and later on connect it to the page. This is a better approach because you are not corrupting data. In here, I'm inserting the IP of a customer. So, for example, I have a customer that comes from this IP, and I would like to locate this customer by IP by connecting to some other external resource. It's actually a MaxMind geolocation that will return me the actual location of this IP. Here I'm pasting the information where the IP is. It's in a payload. Payload is information that comes from node to node, but we can also get information from a profile, event, session, or flow. So in a working environment, I'll probably have this information from event. If the location was recognized, then I can check if the customer is in New York. So I'm pasting a latitude. Actually, this node will return me a latitude, and I'm pasting a latitude of the New York, and then have a test point. It's actually where a customer is. This is from the payload, and then I said that radius of 10 kilometers. So in a radius of 10 kilometers, I will consider this to be a customer from New York. And then if it's true, I want to push a notification to my phone. I don't know if you can see me. I have my phone here, and we'll try if it works. Okay, so I injected this. Actually, this IP is from the New York. So I'm running this, and on my phone I have a notification that says you are at home, because I set this kind of message here. I said you are at home, and I have this kind of information on my phone right now. So this is how Tracardi works and can interact also with customers. It enriched the data that came from the event. It was an IP. It located the customer, found if the customer is in New York, and then did something. If we are not in the New York, this is actually doing it that here on this note, I will have like a information false. I would just, you can see inside true, but if I'm not in the New York, I will have information false. I could just change this IP, and it will not work. But Tracardi also can do something like a control and change of a value. But imagine this workflow is fine, but if I'm running, I don't know, from place to place in New York, my phone will be, if that's a mobile information from mobile device, my phone will be sending all the time the information on my location. So this workflow would just all the time send me a push notification, and this is not good. I want to have a push notification if someone is entering a zone I defined or leaving the zone I'm defined. So right now I have something like run on change. It means that this node will only run if this value is customer in New York on the output will change from true to false. So the second time I'm run it, right now I will not receive, oh, actually I did, but I will not receive this information within, let's go and see, within 100 seconds. So I can say, okay, within, if the customer is like in a certain zone for 10 hours, do not send him notification, only send him this notification once. So Tracardi also can take the information about the value and keep it for a certain amount of time. Another interesting use case is, but what do you have to see here? What's the difference between the Mautic and Tracardi? Mautic is collecting data, and this data is then processed in a form of campaigns and sending like a bulk emails. Tracardi is not working this way. Tracardi is working in a way that it works in a real time. So something happens, and then the system reacts. So let's imagine the following scenario. This is actually very good scenario for customer engagement and enhancing a customer experience. Imagine we have a taxi company, and every time somebody orders a taxi, you have an event that comes to Tracardi, and this event is sending information what kind of car you ordered and when the car should pick you up. And imagine that this taxi is late. Sorry, the taxi is late, and you are just nervous because the taxi is late for like 10 minutes. So what could we do? I will just delete this, and we show you a user journey that will enhance the user experience. So here we will have like a time where the taxi should arrive, for example. Then we could have like an if statement and get an information if payload time is bigger than now plus, I don't know, time delta 10 minutes. I'm not typing the actual conditions, but this would look like something like this. And then if that means actually that the taxi is late. If the taxi is late, we can check the weather conditions. from MSN, we can type the city where the taxi is operating. So let's name Paris, for example. And on the weather conditions, we will have like information if it's raining. So if it's raining, and here we will have like information from. If we double click on here, we can see what information this node will return. It will return like a description. Yes. So right now we would have a payload description equals rain. Okay. And later on, if it's raining on the true node, we can send again a push notification. Sorry for the delay. Sorry for the delay. Okay, sorry for the delay. We want to offer you a discount. So every time a customer orders a taxi and the taxi is late, we can create a customer journey and then react to this. Because when you think about customer experience is something different than marketing. Marketing, you just try to acquire new customers. Customer journey is just proactively acting in a certain way. For example, if there is a late taxi, you would like to apologize and offer a discount, or maybe not. But this is a way it works real time. So Tracardi is working real time, and all this information can also be sent to Mautic. So if we had like a Mautic system connected, we can send this information to Mautic, and later on when we do a marketing, we can notice that, for example, the customer had very bad experience with our taxi company. Okay, other use cases. Actually, there are so many use cases that it's quite hard to grasp, because you can do whatever you want in a real time. But one very important thing of Tracardi is that it can interact on your web page. So when you have a web page like I showed you before, you can make Tracardi to show the widgets on that web page. So right now I have a simple workflow that says that if there is a profile interest, I would like to show a rating widget. I try to run this. Not quite sure if I have everything configured, but let's try it. It's a profile interest coming up from the test page, and I would like to run this workflow. So what it actually does, it just shows a rating widget that asks, do you like our support, for example? Please rate it from 1 to 5 stars. So this is another way of interacting with users. You can interact with external messages, just sending SMSs or sending push notifications, emails. But you can also interact with the user on the page. So let's try to see if I will be able to run this. Okay, here we go. So do you like our support? I'm sending with this page a profile interest event. This event is connected with the workflow I've created. So every time I visit this page, some information is displayed. Actually, this one is displayed, and also this one is displayed because we have another workflow, and I will the profile the user agreed to our consents, and if not, on the false port, we want on the page to show a show consent bar. So let's go back and we see if I give a consent to the marketing actions actually, if it will not show. But you also can see that if I double click on here, you can see that those plugins can also send additional new events. So one event is agree all, and I defined it to agree all consent. And then there is another start on the workflow that process this event, and it sets straight in the profile consent all sets to true. And here we see that if profile consent equals true, we don't want on the true part to do nothing. So let's try and see if it works. Okay, this is my web page, and now I can like see my consents. I will show that you that Tracardi also takes care of user consents, and we can define what kind of consent the user have to grant to, for example, send him an email. Okay, let's do it again, because I will agree to all. Okay, I agree to all, and right now I don't see this this interaction, this widget. As to widgets, we can create any widget in a React.js. Actually, you can create a simple application in a React.js and then connect it to any page. So it's very handy if you are a React.js programmer or know anybody that can code in React.js. You can like open completely new applications that are controlled by Tracardi. Okay, so maybe a quick run through what Tracardi can do more, and then we'll go to questions. Okay, Tracardi, as I said, have sources, but have also resources. What it means, you can create a new resource you will be taking data from. So, for example, you can click here and you can see we have quite a few resources. One is Mautic, there's Airtable, InfluxDB, Google Cloud Services. So we can use like Google Sheets, any service that requires a token, Trello. We can read from MySQL, Elastic PostgreSQL, send data, send emails via SMTP, different parts. If there is a service that has an API, you can send the data to this service. So you can create many resources. And with the new version, we will also have destinations. Actually, we don't have many right now, but destinations does something like this. So when you process a profile, you can just synchronize this profile with other destination. That's quite good for Mautic, because right now we will have a destination. Probably this will be the first destination we will implement. It's a destination to synchronize data with Mautic. So you don't have to do it in the workflow. You just define that this every time a profile changes, you would like to have it in Mautic, and Tracardi will send it to Mautic. Later on, we have consents. You can see that I've defined consent marketing. Means that when I've clicked on consents, you saw only marketing consent, but you can also add new consents and say that you will sell data, for example, and you would like to have a consent from the user. This is not the good way to do marketing, selling data, but I can show you that here you can just define a lot of consents and then use this information, because this information is in the profile. You can use this information to define how the workflows should process the data. Later on, we have validation. So you can also validate if the, for example, this one, validate if there is a field email, and you can define a JSON schema. This is a certain schema that defines if inside the JSON, the event properties we have a certain data right now. In event properties, we would like to have a string that is an email and has this pattern. And now we have processing, I've showed it, rules, and we have also a segmentation. What is segmentation? Actually, in Mautic, you have segmentation as well, but you do it a bit differently. We segment customer real time. So if if there is a certain rule that the customer is meeting, actually, then it will be placed in a certain segments. So the customer will be just joining the segments and leaving the segments. For example, if you say that if you visit us more than one time, you are in the segment X, and if you visit us more than 10 times, you are in segment Y. So this is all real time, and this data can also be pushed to Mautic. Okay, and the last thing is monitoring. You can see that Tracardi is a distributed system. You can see how many workers we have, some instances actually running. So we've been doing some tests, and Tracardi can, on my laptop, can have like a 100 events per second, and this is not a problem. If you want to scale it, you can scale it easily because it's built in a Docker. You also can see event logs, and there is this testing editor where you can see what's sent to Tracardi, and settings. It's there. Just you can add users, etc. Okay, and I think this is it. If you need any help, you can actually contact us on Twitter, see the documentation, see our YouTube tutorials, join our Slack channel, or go to GitHub. You can also type Twitter on Twitter. Sorry, Tracardi on Twitter, and you will find me, and you can contact me there as well. Okay, that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Risto. Against all odds, you are still able to do this and still be able to share everything you want to do. This is really interesting, and thanks so much for putting much effort into this. We really appreciate you, and we are glad that you were able to do this together in your team. And I know you keep building, so you're still on 0.6, I guess. So version one should be out, the most stable version, I guess, very soon. All right.
Actually, the version is working right now. The point one will have all the functionalities we think this system should have. Right now, I would say that we have like 85% of the functionality we need. With point zero, we'll have probably 100.
Oh, all right. Perfect. Thank you so much for you and the team for the effort you've been putting into this. And if you have any question, please feel free to drop them in the question and answer chat box. And there are a couple of questions already. And okay, I can see that Week is already answering them. So I was asking if there's videos or short videos, and he said, okay, all right. So since you are developing very fast, so all these are not there, but then maybe tutorials on setting up Tracardi, maybe on setting it on different platforms and things like that. So that will help people to want to use it more. And so the other question I also have here was talking about a use case where you talked about the um where you talked about the notifications. I was looking in a situation where you can be able to use Tracardi for like events. So maybe you have an event registration, and then people get within a location for that event. They registered online. So I know about Beacon. I've not used it before, but I'm just seeing it as a case study. So where you get to an
Okay.
event, and then you can be able to automatically check yourself in for that event when you get there,
Okay.
because you get to within a radius where you have the beacon, and then you get a notification that says welcome to XYZ event. Check in.
Yeah. Okay. Let me answer all those questions very quickly. Okay.
All right.
Okay, first of all, what makes Tracardi different for you from Unomi? Actually, when I was starting doing Tracardi, I wanted to use Unomi, and it was very hard. It was almost impossible because it had so many errors, and I didn't understand. And I actually, the first version of Tracardi was a frontend for Unomi because Unomi does not have any GUI, any frontend. So you're not able to operate like in Tracardi. And then I discovered that this is quite hard for me, and I think, okay, I have to write the backend for Tracardi, and I did. So this is a main difference. And actually, Unomi does not have any plugins. You have to write your own. And Tracardi right now has more than 100 plugins. So this is the big difference. Actually, you just do something like drop a note on a canvas, and then it works. Uh, the other thing is that Tracardi is a not only no code system, but also a low code system. It means that why we are developing very fast. We are developing because we have a whole structure of the system made this way that you can write a plugin like for Mautic in a few days, like 3 days. David, who wrote this plugin, just wrote it, I guess, in 4 days. Like wrote 5 or 6 plugins for Mautic, and it was very quick. It's possible because Tracardi is a low-code system, and you can just type like a um, few lines, and then you have a plugin. The other thing is about the videos. We have a YouTube channel, and there is a lot of videos on how to set up a Tracardi, how can you use it for collecting data. We'll be doing some videos on how to engage users, because you have to differentiate this. Um the data collection is one thing. You just collect data, and then you have it in a profile, and you can synchronize it with other systems. And then there's the engagement part, when you send information to users. You ask about the information with the widgets. For example, do you like our service or not? uh, would you like us to contact you or not? Because customer engagement is more and more about this human touch, when you have problems, and then somebody will contact you. And I will give you an example for this. Let's imagine you go on a vacation, and you rent a car on some distant airport. And what happens if the car is not there? You are just nervous about this. So some people just go into the system, just check like every time if the car is really there, it's really ordered, rented actually. And you can sense this with the events from Tracardi and say, okay, you are for the third time visiting the same page. Are you concerned about the car rental? We can call you. So, and this can be done by Tracardi because it's done in real time. Okay, and the last thing about notification from beacons. Actually, I have it done in my house. So I'm using Tracardi for my home automation, because uh, you can have like Tracardi right now can collect the information from API, and I've written a very small code that is actually an open source code, and you can have like a beacon in your house, and when you enter your house, your phone will pick this up and send to Tracardi you are home, and then it just turns out turns in turns on lights or turns off lights if you leave your home. So as I said, Tracardi can also collect information from Internet of Things, and this can be used in e-commerce as well. So for example, if you are an hotel owner, and you give people those batch cards, then they open the room or go to the spa, or use different services of your hotel. This information is stored in some other system, and this information is not used. But if you are able, usually using a MQTT transportation, send this information to Tracardi, and this is quite easy. If the device you're using has a MQTT installed, then it's very easy to send it to Tracardi, and then you have information on what the customer was using in your hotel, and you can again send a email to them, or make a campaign to the customers that like your spa, saying, okay, this weekend our spa is 50% less. Okay, it's 50% off. So the possibilities are endless, actually, because if you collect data, process it, and send it to some other systems, then you can just imagine what you can do with it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So, I don't know maybe if we have any other questions, but maybe while we are waiting for any other questions, I would like to share some announcements. So, Mautic 4.2 should be out anytime soon. So, be on the lookout. So, there are some changes and some new enhancements and improvements. So be on the lookout, and also be looking forward to Multi 5. But from Multi 4.2, there will be some major announcements that will be determining the future of Multic. So you might want to start looking forward for that. So there will be some major announcements coming out soon on how Multic will work from now on. So you want to make sure that you follow the Multic social channel and the website and check on the blog. Okay, so we have no other question, and thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Also, the lounge is open for anyone to come network. So, if you like to speak with Risto or you like to speak with David, um, you can come join us at the lounge, where we can be able to talk more about this and see how you can learn better or answer some other questions you don't want to ask here. And also, please join us at our next meetup, which will be happening next month, March 26th, 10 a.m. UTC time. What we'll be discussing is how you can use Mautic for email automation with Mautic and WordPress. And who will be taking that is the developer for CyberPanel. So CyberPanel is an open source panel for hosting, for web hosting. So that would we'll be having Usman doing that for us next month. Thank you, everybody, and hope today's session was a great one. Please do answer our survey, and we love to know how you get to know about this so that you can be able to push more. And please do help us invite other people to also participate in our next session. I guess so many people are in different time zones, so we don't have much people, but we do get people watching the videos a lot and commenting. So, Risto, I might be getting back to you when I start getting so many people and asking questions on the YouTube channel regarding this.
Sure,
But,
sure. Anyone can connect me. Just write us, or find us on Twitter or on your platform, in your community.
no
No
problem.
Slack,
No
no
problem.
problem.
So we have this streaming live to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So I guess there are other people also connecting from there who are not directly on any. All right. Thank you so much, Risto. I so much appreciate your
Thank you.
time, your patience, and the effort you put into this together with your team. And I hope that we will have this more. And like I said before, we hope you will be able to have something to also discuss with us at Mautic Conference Global happening in June. So call for speaker is ending on Monday. So we'd like to see you also speak at that event, June 8 and 9. All right.
Okay.
Everybody, do have a lovely weekend. Please come join us at the lounge. We would love to see you come interact with any one of us, including the speaker. All right. Bye for now.
Bye bye.